Okay, we good? Okay, we're on. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to decide what our premise is. So we're deciding is there a God? What do we mean by that? I'm going to kind of like put what I want in here, which is I'm going to say the main job of God, in most people's view, is that he's the one who makes the universe. And there are lots of different gods. There's the God of wisdom, the God of the river, goodness knows, the God of the grove, and then there's the monotheistic gods. But I'm going to say that when we talk about is there a God, we're talking about the God who makes the world, makes the universe. Now, most people would think that that means that it's the theist premise is that a superior being makes us. But that's not the theist premise for Jews and Christians, and since they do make up the majority of faith people in the world, I'm going to use their premise, which is that, and you can like this or lump it, but it's true.
Where is that in the Fulton belief?
The creature.
Sorry.
Well, essentially, what Christians or Jews should believe is whatever's written here, because it's not made up. And then you make something made up. Right, the creature, just like us. Set out to make a creature just like him. 2018 and succeed. That's the theist premise. And a lot of people may think the Christian God's not a lot like us, or he's not supposed to be like us, but it's not what he says. I'm going to read you a few bits here from the Bible to kind of show my point. Okay, so we've got Genesis, right at the beginning, creation story. And God said, now we, it's really interesting, he actually uses a plural all the time in Genesis. Then God says, now we will make human beings, and they will be just like us, and they'll resemble us. They'll have power over the fish, the birds, all the animals, domestic and wild, large and small. So God created human beings, making them to be like himself. There's no kind of caveats in there. Also, here we go. Now, this is quite interesting. Eve goes to eat the fruit, right? And she sees the snake eating the fruit, and the snake lies to deceive Eve in Judeo-Christian theology in order to get her to eat the fruit, and then God gets really mad. Let's see what it actually says. Right, now the snake was the most cunning animal the Lord God had made, and the snake asked the woman, did God tell you not to eat the fruit of any tree in the garden? Well, we can eat the fruit of any tree in the garden, the woman answered, except the tree in the middle of it. God told us not to eat the fruit of that tree or even touch it. If we do, we'll die. And God actually says you'll die that day. The snake replied, that's not true. You won't die. God said that because he knows that when you eat it, you'll be like him. And you'll know the difference between what is right and what is wrong. And that's all the snake says to her. It then goes on to talk about how she eats it, tastes nice, so she gives some to Adam, who's with her the whole time. And he eats it, and then the trouble starts. Then the Lord God said, now the man has become like one of us, and his knowledge of what is good and what is bad. And what I find interesting about this is that Eve does not die the same day, and what the snake tells Eve is absolutely right. So the idea that the snake misleads her, it may mislead her insofar as it gives her advice that's not in her best interest, but it tells her the truth. And God recognises that once they've acquired the knowledge of good and evil, that they are, as I say, just like one of us. Again, there's that plural. And the last clue is in the Tower of Babel. There's a load of men who are building a tower in the middle of the desert, and God comes down to have a look. And for reasons that I'll explain, he's not happy. Then the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the men had built, and he said, now then, these are all one people and they speak one language, and this is just the beginning of what they're going to do. Soon, they will be able to do anything that they want. And so in order to stop them, he confounds the languages. At no point in Genesis does God suggest that man is in any way inferior. He's usually referred to as us as being the sons of the Father, and he relentless, keeps hammering away at this idea that mankind has been made in his image and is exactly like him. I don't know where we got the impression there's some kind of great divide between kind of Christians and their God, but there really isn't. It's a creature just like us, sets out to make a creature just like him, will go to them, and succeeds. The atheist premise. Is that the universe and we in it formed by unguided chance. Now I know we have some atheists in the room, so if anybody has a problem with that, just say to me now. Is that the atheist premise? Jez?
More or less.
More or less. Alright, fine. So what we need to do, if we want to answer this question, is that we need to find out what the probability of these two premises is. We assign them a probability to the best of our knowledge, or the best of the current knowledge that we have, and then we back whichever horse has the best probability until the facts change and inform us differently. I'm going to start off.
You said already that the probability depends on the person and their experience.
No, the probability is absolutely independent of the person. Whether the person chooses to say okay, fine, is up to them. So the probability can be 90% they can still hang on in 10, because that's our weakness in the middle. And that's the end of part 1. So you've got him.
Pause.
Well done.
Thank you. Hooray.
Hooray.